What is going on, everybody? Way too fast. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to dig into the World of Warcraft, and when I mean dig, we're going to be digging into the World of Warcraft.exe. We're going to be looking at the file structure and the directory of where the World of Warcraft launches from, and why it is very important to not only your game health but your computer health as well. If you don't have good computer health, you're not going to have good game health. You're not going to be able to perform well. So today we're going to go ahead and we're going to just get down to the nitty-gritty details, and I'm going to further explain why it's important, one, and two, this is going to make a little bit of sense of how I've said before in previous videos that I do a fresh install of the World of Warcraft every expansion. And this is going to go into further details of why I do it and why it will benefit your PC and your gameplay collectively. And it might be something that you either never thought of or you just never knew how to do it. And this video is going to collectively put everything together and tell you what you need to do and what you can and can't do. So be sure to go ahead and give me a thumbs up below already if you're interested. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's go ahead and just throw this knowledge bomb on you guys. Okay, so first things first, obviously, we need to get to the actual folder itself that World of Warcraft relies in, which is obviously going to be within your C drive, which is your hard drive. So we're going to go to your computer, you're going to go to your local disk, which for most people will be C drive, and then you're going to go down to your program files here, and then down below here is going to be where all your World of Warcraft files are actually located. Now, if you played back in Vanilla and Burning Crusade where there wasn't actual, like, GUI managed add-on developers making websites and applications to automatically do add-ons, you know that, like, you would have to manually go in here to World of Warcraft, click interface, click add-ons, and you would have to, like, copy and cut or copy and paste the updated versions of your add-ons. And I'm sure if you talk to somebody who's nostalgic that played Vanilla, they will tell you it sucked. You know, there was always somebody in the guild who was, you know, very knowledge-based in terms of software with add-ons, and they would, you know, go ahead and put in the guild emote of the day that, you know, this add-on's been updated. Make sure you go off to Curse Gaming and grab it, or whatever, Thoughtbot, all those crazy websites. Hopefully I just didn't send you down a nostalgic path, but yeah, if you don't know what it is, like I said, you're going to go to your local disk, you're going to go to program files. If you look at the upper here where I have highlighted, this is going to be your file path. So that's where you're going to want to go ahead and go to get all of these folders. Now, all of these folders here are just very necessary folders, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to explain to you exactly what's inside of them, what can be deleted from them, and just kind of just give you a little bit of a knowledge bomb of each individual folder and what pretty much everything, what it is. Because a lot of people just, what they do is they just launch the game and they play the game and they don't really think of the back end of what makes the game run, and I'm here to tell you and show you exactly like what all that is. So let's go ahead and start digging through these folders. Okay, so first things first here, as you can see right here, these are all the folders, the files that are pretty much within the directory of the game World of Warcraft. Now, I'm not inside of beta and the public test realm folder. This is just the regular World of Warcraft one. This is live at World of Warcraft, and it's going to be easier for me to go ahead and show you more about you know, what you have access to right now versus not everyone has beta, not everybody has PTR installed. So this is going to go ahead and give you a better idea of what's going on currently on your machine based on what's live in the game. Now, this video, I'm filming it before pre-patch. It might drop after pre-patch, but nothing in terms of game data is going to be changing because most likely you already downloaded the 8.0 patch in the background downloader, which I'll explain all that as well with this video. So it's something that it will be relevant at any point in time unless Blizzard changes the hierarchy of how they structure their folders for the game. This video shouldn't be outdated. The way that they do their folder structures in the game has kind of been the same since day one. They've added a little bit things like here and there to help themselves for like data backlogging and things like that. But let's go ahead and take a look here. I don't want to bore you guys anymore, and we'll just get down to the nitty-gritty details. Okay, so obviously we're going to go down the list here. You see cache data, errors, interface log, screenshots, utils, which is short for utilities, Wtf Folder, and then all these other database and executables and stuff like that. So like I said, we'll go ahead and we'll get started with the cache folder. So the cache folder is basically holding all of your in-game local content data. this is data that has a higher probability of getting corrupted because that game, or sorry, that data is live, that is being basically microprocessed between your processor, your graphical, your graphics card, and all that. Like, it is all being locally stored there in this folder, and then the cache memory basically stores the program instructions and the data that are used repeatedly in the operation of running the program, to inform the CPU or the GPU that this is the next thing in line that's needed. So the in-game data is in one hand, and then you have your physical computer in the other hand, and they're basically talking back and forth to each other. As long as that data is clean, it's not corrupt, it's going to work fine. The only thing with your cache folder is that it can kind of get loaded up with a bunch of gunk. And by gunk, I mean if you have a lot of characters that you log on to and you have a lot of add-ons that are attached to those users, or not users, characters, it's actually going to go ahead and create a lot of cached memory that's going to be stored there. Now, this folder can be deleted. If you've ever put in a ticket for Blizzard about something, they say please delete your cache in WTF folders, because basically that deletes all the freaking memory, or not memory, all the stored in-game local data and settings that you've personally have set up for the game on your PC. So if you delete this folder, it will recreate itself, and it might slow down your computer a little bit, but that's because your computer and the game are relearning everything all over again. So it might take a little bit of time. It's not something that's going to drastically affect your performance when it's relearning it, but it is going to be a memory hog over time. It's just one of those things that deleting it every once in a blue moon is a good thing. Normally what I do is anytime that there's a big patch that comes out, or pre-patch or anything like that, I usually will just go ahead and delete the folder and then have it be recreated upon logging into the game. And 99% of the time the game runs a little bit better, or it runs a little bit smoother, or something along those lines. So definitely keeping this deleted is going to be like a 2 thumbs up in my book in terms of just like keeping the game clean and without having any issues. Okay, so the next folder in line here is actually going to be our data folder. Now the data folder itself actually is kind of, it's important. Let's just put it that way. I will put this out on the line right now. Your data folder is something that you will not need to delete. It's just something that you don't delete. It's a big no-no. Now, if you delete it upon launching the game, it will recreate the folder. Just some of the stuff won't be in there, and I'm going to go ahead and explain why. So you're going to see here, you see a config folder, data folder, and dices folder, and patch folder. All 4 of these folders individually communicate with each other. It's something that you really don't want to get in the way of, most likely. Or I shouldn't say most likely, it's something that you just don't want to get in the way. And the reason for that is there's in-game and outside game crucial data that resides in there, like patches, pre-patches, bug fixes, emergency fixes for, when Blizzard gets DDoSed or whatever, and they have to throw out a patch to the, on the network side to fix whatever it is, whoever's DDoSing, however they're DDoSing. That folder holds all of that information. That is something that you should not handle unless you know what you're doing, but there's no reason to delete it. That folder takes care of itself. When there's patches or in-game data that gets pushed out through Blizzard and your background downloader grabs it, downloads it, it disappears. That folder itself actually takes care of itself. It cleans itself up. There's nothing you need to really worry about it. There might be a couple, folders or files in the directory here and there inside the data folder that might be static and stay there, but it's not going to be anything like a memory hog or cause any corruption or any issues internally with the game. Your best bet is with the data folder, just leave it be. Do not touch it. It's just one of those things where it works fine, it does what it's supposed to do, and just let it go. Just let it go. I promise you, it will save you probably headaches later on down the road. And if you do delete it, you might have to do a fresh reinstall of the game. Let's put it that way. It's just do not touch it. Just let it go, and just move on to the next thing, which is going to be the errors folder. So inside the errors folder, it's kind of, a no-brainer, like what's an errors folder, and obviously there's going to be errors in there. Now, if you can see here, the DMP files and text files, these are dump files, and they have text files that are attached to it to tell you exactly what those errors are. Now, these are going to be in-game crashes. As you can see here, I have a whole bunch of in-game crashes that happen, and this could either because of, bad patch installations or, patch updates that, I did in the background, but the game didn't actually launch itself, so the game just kind of had a hiccup or whatever. The errors folder, I would say, is good. All it really is kind of a way for Blizzard to kind of dump all this information and knowledge from the errors that you had to yourself, so you can kind of diagnose what's going on. Blizzard's ticket system allows to pretty much have the universal effect of handling any in-game or outside client data to help them, further fix any issues that, the game might have. So, say for instance, you get a couple million people who are bitching and complaining about, a certain error that's populating. They'll go ahead and be like, okay, well, give us 1 second. I mean, realistically, whether everybody knows or not, Blizzard has the legal action to remote into your PC and see these files, every single one of these files. And this error dump file is more or less for them, but you can also go ahead and see everything for yourself. So I'll go ahead and open up here, and it tells you the build, it tells you where it's from, the time that it happened, it tells you exactly the PC. It literally will tell you everything that you need to know. It tells you your add-ons. It'll also say if, you're using, any sort of bots, like an honor bot or a phishing bot or anything like that. All these random numbers and all this stuff on the codex side, it means something. It really does mean something. So this is all something that is not really realistic to, yourself as the game user, because it's just something that, unless you know what you're doing with that information, it's pointless. You shouldn't be in there. The only way I would personally, even myself being in the IT career field, is if obviously you see I have a couple crashes, I would go in there and kind of read up about it and just see what the hell happened. Why is my game crashing? And you can take some of the numbers in there and you can actually probably Google them. I'm sure that they all have their own error codes, and there's obviously forum postings about them, but more importantly, just stay out of it. There's no reason to go in there. Now, the real question is, can I delete this? Yeah, you can clear out this folder and you can delete whatever you want in it. Will it get recreated? Yes, the folder will get recreated automatically when you launch the game. So this is something that it's not really going to eat up a lot of space unless you have like a couple 100,000, crashes and memory dumps or things like that on your physical computer when you're playing the game. Then yeah, it might be something that you might want to go ahead and delete. So, it's something that, like, to the average player, it's really not going to affect your gameplay or how the game runs. It's just more or less something that it helps Blizzard kind of resolve any issues that they, have with a patch or something like that. But also, it'll help with client data as well for your machine, and if you crash, and this is why it crashed and things of that nature, with the dump files that are attached to it. So, like I said, the errors folder, it's pointless, just let it go. If you want to clean it out because it's hogging up a bunch of data on your machine so your disk space gets a little bit larger, great, go ahead and delete it. It'll just recreate it and you'll be all set. So let's go ahead and we're going to move to the big boy, which is the interface folder. Okay, so the interface folder is probably one of the most iconic folder besides the WTF folder. The interface folder is obviously where it holds all of your add-ons and all of the configurations that go with the add-ons. I'm going to go ahead and open this folder here and kind of give you a show. So it's like, oh, an add-ons folder, like how bad can it be? And it's just like, ugh, it's a bunch of throw up. Each one of these folders represents one of the add-ons that I'm running on my computer. And as you can see, I got a lot. I have a really good built computer. I have no issues, knock on wood. I never have any issues in terms of performance or anything like that. So if I'm going to use an add-on, I'll download it, and then if I don't need it, I just disable it. It's very rare that I go ahead and actually like delete an add-on, but for the most part, I usually keep everything on my machine. But my point is, with this video, is for PC health, performance, and things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to go back, and I have a program called Tree Size. And Tree Size is a program that allows me to see, file sizes and total file sizes of folders and like what is allocated within subfolders and crazy nonsense like that. But you can see here that currently for World of Warcraft Live, and we're looking at, pre-patch is already downloaded in the background. It's just not live on the servers yet. you know, we're looking at, this is the folder structure. So you have your cache folder, data, errors, and right now we're talking about the interface folder. And as you can see, we have 168 megabytes, almost 169, and this is all add-ons. I can go through this for days, and you know, I can even see how much space is allocated for every add-on. So this one right here for Autoholic, which is 1.4%, that is because it controls all of my alt characters, and I have close to 30 characters on my account. So that add-on is contributing to every single character and its data, and every time I log on the game, it pulls all that data. So but to get back on track here, these are like all the add-ons, and you'll see that it's very rare to find something like this one right here is 2.2%, but this is actually the core information for data, DBM, which is Deadly Boss Mines for those who don't know. So to get back on track here, everybody knows that pretty much the add-ons are what we as a WoW community thrive off of. They make the gameplay a lot better compared to what Blizzard has given us. They help our own gameplay, they help guilds, they help parties, they help professions, they help everything in the game. It's the whole point of add-ons. It's an add-on to the game that is not part of the game to basically make the gaming experience a lot easier. Now, the add-on folder is pretty much going to be one of the largest folders in the World of Warcraft directory because it holds in-game data for each character for each server. So I have about, you know, 30 plus characters, and you know, if I use the same profile from my main character on Illidan and apply the profile for all my add-ons to every character that I have from Illidan, even though it's the same profile, that profile gets copied and pasted over to my other character on a different server, and it creates like a lot of copies, especially when you get a UI that you really like. You obviously need to recreate it on your other tunes, and luckily with, you know, how add-on history has become, you can basically just load other profiles of other characters for add-ons and without needing to basically reconfigure everything up. But all of that stores data. It copies data from one place to another, and it just creates more and more and more data, and that adds up over time. Now, obviously when you go ahead and do a fresh install in the game, you lose everything. You will lose all your settings. Like, you start out the game as if you're a newbie and you just, you know, logged into Orgrimmar for the first time, and like, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. No one likes when, you know, you either have to do a fresh install or you need to rebuild the game basically to get back where you were. So my recommendation for you is to always keep your add-ons backed up. And what I mean by backed up is basically you always want to keep a copy of your add-ons folder somewhere else on your computer that you can have as a backup. Now, you can keep it on a flash drive, another hard drive somewhere, but my recommendations to you is to just keep a backup of your add-ons folder somewhere. So ideally what you would go ahead and do is you would just go ahead, right click, hit frickin' copy, and then you can go ahead and to somewhere else, you know, here, if I wanted to go down to my users and put it actually in like the public folder here for me to access, I could. I'm not going to, because I'm going to be doing a fresh install in the game anyway, but one of the biggest things is keeping, obviously, your add-ons up to date is a big thing. Making sure that they stay updated, making sure that they don't get, you know, corrupted or anything like that. But if there's anything that I would tell you to do is just keep them backed up, so that way you can save yourself later on, you know, just time down the road, so that we don't have to reset everything back up, because it's something that you will kick yourself in the ass when it happens. And then, you know, if you lose all your in-game data and add-ons because of whatever happens to your PC, you know, even if you do a fresh PC build and you keep it backed up, you can literally take your add-ons from one PC and put them on another PC with just a simple copy-paste, and you'll have the same gameplay and you don't have to worry about anything. So my recommendation is don't delete your add-ons folder. It will recreate itself, but it's not going to recreate itself with all of the add-ons that are in the game. They will be gone permanently, and you'll have to start over from scratch. So my recommendation is just don't touch them. Keep your add-ons updated and keep them backed up. That would be my highest recommendation for your interface folder. Okay, so the next couple folders, I'm kind of gonna do like a little like spin-off and try to just like, you know, power through them, because there's not really much to go inside these folders here. So next one's gonna be your log folders. These are gonna be individual like log folders, as you can see here. that basically Blizzard uses. It's not really made for user-friendly things for us being the players. It's more or less just logs that mean something on their end, but on our end it means like jack shit. So the log file, yes, you can delete it if you want to, but it's going to recreate it upon launching the game. So if you're gonna delete it, like, you're probably gonna be deleting it because you're uninstalling the game, and that's about it. So I wouldn't go ahead and delete it. So, but the next folder we're gonna go ahead and talk about is your screenshots folder. Now everybody in the world of Warcraft knows what screenshots are. You hit print screen, boom, it'll go ahead and, you know, take a screenshot of whatever it is. So your screenshot folder is going to basically be all the screenshots that you take in the game. Now I keep mine actually regularly backed up, probably every other month or so. I don't really know when these were taken, to be honest with you. Some of these are kind of older, it looks like. This is the 7th, it says up here in the corner. I don't know what month. I was playing my mage, so this was definitely during, you know, the end of the expansion, that's for sure. I do know that. And, you know, some of the ones that are up here, you know, for instance, like that right there, that screenshot is from me taking, you know, screenshots of settings, because I am going to be doing a fresh reinstall in the game, which is the whole purpose of this video. And I'm going to match my settings that I have now to what I'm matching my settings to when I have the new install with the new pre-patch and all that stuff and all the new in-game changes. And I'm going to do some benchmarking, and I want to see, like, if the game runs better with these changes or if it runs slower, or, you know, vice versa. So but to get back on, you know, topic here, this is basically where all your screenshots are going to be. It's just a place where you can kind of go down memory lane, and you can kind of go and just be like, oh, I remember that. Like, oh, this is when, you know, we were doing this, or, you know, it's just stupid things like that that are going to make you want to, like, hold on to those things. Now, this folder can actually eat up a lot of data, especially if you have your screenshot saved from back in, like, vanilla BC. You might actually be in the gig range, if not, like, you know, way more than that. I'm not saying you're going to have, like, terabytes worth of screenshots, but I would definitely go in there and, you know, go ahead and copy and paste it somewhere and back it up, so that way you can go back and just take a look at them. So you can delete this folder. The folder will recreate itself, but none of your pictures will be there. They will be completely gone, and you will cry because you've lost all your memories, and the only way to get it back is if you do a restore on your physical computer itself. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the next folder, which is going to be the utils folder. So the utils folder is basically going to have all your proxy crap in it from Blizzard. This has a lot of browser stuff. I'm pretty sure the utils folder is connected to the Battle.net launcher in some way, shape, or form. This is the only folder that I know for a fact that, you know, I'm not entirely sure what it does. It does have dump logs, text fogs, and debug logs, which is, I'm assuming this is just another logs, like, folder outside the logs folder that might be just for the Battle.net launcher. I'm not really entirely sure for the utils folder. Coming from an IT side, if you don't know anything about it, just don't touch it. Like, don't delete it. I'm sure if you delete it, it'll recreate itself just like all the other Blizzard folders do, but just let it go. Just don't touch it. Just let it go. There's honestly, when I go through all this, there's really not much in here, nor is there anything large in size that would propose like a threat to storage on your computer. So I would honestly just, like, let it go and not even worry about it, because the next folder that we're going to go to, which is the WTF folder, is going to be the big boy. And we'll go ahead and we'll get into that. Okay, so the WTF folder is basically containing all of your local game settings inside the game, like graphical settings, your network settings, personal preferences, like, you know, having NPCs, you know, having their names come up, things like that. Like, things that are changeable inside the stock game in terms of, like, no add-ons or anything like that. Like I said, all the information that you change is stored within a WTF folder. Like I said earlier in the video, Blizzard will say, if you have any issues in the game, have you deleted your cache or your WTF folder? That's Blizzard's way of basically saying, hey, if the game's corrupt, it's probably on your end. Delete these folders, because they will recreate themselves, but it'll make you start from scratch with your UI. I only highly recommend doing this just because what Blizzard tells you to do, one, and two, there's a reason behind it. It does fix a lot of issues. It does fix a lot of corruption that you might have with your UI, especially if you have add-ons that are interfering with the stock Blizzard UI. You're going to have problems. There's going to be add-on developers out there who are going to miss a couple things in their coding, and they're just not going to line up with like the Blizzard coding, and it's going to cause problems. It's going to cause problems, and it's just one of those things where if you're told to delete it, just delete it and take like 5-10 minutes to reset your in-game personal preferences back up. Doesn't take long. I know it's a pain in the ass, but if you're like me, I keep screenshots of all my settings, so that way I don't have to like sit here and think, oh well, did I have like my FPS capped at 120 or did I have it capped at 240? Because you can obviously go ahead and do that in the game. So like I said, I highly recommend just leaving it go unless told otherwise. If you want to delete it and you want to get a fresh start on the game without needing to actually reinstall the game, then it might be a good idea just to go ahead and save yourself some time. It will recreate itself, it just will not have the same settings. Now, as for all the other random files and things down here, as you can see here, the WoW.exe is the 32-bit WoW, which actually is going to be going away, so it's pointless to even talk about it. The WoW-64 is the 64-bit client version. The World of Warcraft launcher.exe is basically what launches the game before the game, if that makes any sense. And a lot of these are just DLL. These are just extensions to the game itself. Like this scan, just basically, this scan file is basically an extension to the internal settings, and in the Battle.net launcher, it allows you to pick or choose if you want to run 34-bit or 34. If you want to run 32-bit or 64-bit, if you're running 64-bit, it's going to go out here and it's going to grab this extension and be like, hey, I need you to launch the 64-bit version of World of Warcraft, and then that's what it'll go ahead and do. So a lot of this other stuff like build info, it's really not anything. It's one of those things where it's an info file. Like, it's just info. It's not even large in size. It's pointless. Don't even worry about it. The Blizzard Air, I know I'm kind of jumping around all these. The Blizzard Air.exe is a Air application itself. That's kind of its own demon. I don't want to really get into that because it's something that is going to spark controversy, and it's also going to like make me have to do another video about the Blizzard Air.exe because it's its own Air executable program that they have that you can kind of run in the background and do things on. If you guys are really interested in me doing it, I will go in the background and I will get hardcore nerdy about the Blizzard Air.exe because there's a way to get into it and there's a way to see a crap load of things that like the average person can't see. But that's like a different video, and if y'all are interested in it, I'll be glad to sit down and go ahead and take care of that with you guys. But that pretty much wraps things up here. You know, I went over all the folders here. You know, if you are watching this video and you are not going to do a fresh reinstall in the game, my suggestion to you is to delete your cache folder here and delete your WTF folder here. Those are going to be the biggest performance enhancers that you're going to be able to get on your machine to make the game seem like it's a fresh install. Everything in between pretty much is all going to just be nonsense stuff that won't really matter if you delete it or not. And then your interface, which is obviously where your add-ons reside, like I've said in the video, those can make or break your game as well too, especially if you have a lot of them on your computer and your computer's not built to run like that many add-ons and that much like traffic on your computer just for the game. That's going to cause data issues. That's going to cause possible corruption. That's going to cause like performance issues with the game itself as well. So you are going to be in the hands of your own machine just like you are every day when you log on to play the game, and it's going to be up to you on whether or not like how you're going to, you know, make your game perform better. If it performs fine right now, that's fine. Don't touch it. My cut that out. My game runs perfectly fine. The only reason why I do a fresh reinstall, or excuse me, a fresh uninstall, then reinstall the game, because I understand how programs work. I understand how they hold on to older files, and sometimes Blizzard just doesn't do any direct file cleanups. They kind of just overwrite things and compress the files, and it's just unneeded things on my computer that I really don't want, and it's just something that makes you feel good, like a fresh install in the game. Like, what could go wrong? Nothing could go wrong because it's a fresh install in the game. Everything's new. The expansion comes out, the pre-patch is there, like everything's new. It makes you feel good. And I will tell you this right now, 8.0 is bringing a lot to the game. And I'm not talking about just game changes, getting to level 120. I've played beta. I've messed around in the directory files of beta. And there's a lot of performance changing things in the game that you're going to be like, whoa, this is awesome. I want to do it. And the best way to be able to test those, benchmark them, mess around with them, is to do it with a clean slate of the game. Clean slate of the game is honestly going to be the best way to test anything that you really want it to be. But I can't really express anymore. We went through all the file directories and went through pretty much everything we need to know. But my suggestion, coming from a professional IT background, I do it every single day, do a fresh reinstall and you'll thank me later. I'm just going to leave it at that, and there's nothing much else to go over. I could really get nerdy, like I said. I can go into the blizzard-era.exe file. I can go in depth with add-on directories and how add-ons are developed. I've never built my own add-on, but I know how they do it. There's plenty of other YouTube videos out there, so I don't want to bore you any more than what I already have, but I keep just trying to express a fresh install. Everyone likes new. New car, new computer, new kitchen appliances, new TV, new cell phone. Everyone likes new shit, so my best suggestion would be to go ahead, do a fresh reinstall in the game, and then let me know how it works for you guys. But we're going to go ahead. We are going to end it there. I have babbled enough. I really hope this helps out for people. This video should not get outdated anytime soon. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know down below. I can answer them fairly quickly. But if you guys just follow my instructions, or if you just completely disregard all of them, delete the entire game and then reinstall it, you'll be perfectly fine doing it that way. I'm actually, going to be doing that the day of pre-patch, which is in 2 days. So depending on when I get this video edited, it might be like a couple of days old, or it might be on time. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm going to stop babbling. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed what I had to tell you. I didn't really give you the full in-depth information about everything because I'm not trying to make this video last like 6 hours. But be sure to show some love and support down below. I really appreciate it. Be aware of new BFA content coming out, especially directed towards Paladins, since I mean a Paladin. So be aware of that, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.